At first glance, reading the digital footprint of Micah Hanks feels like stepping into a hurricane of words. It's a dense, multi-layered manifesto that refuses to sit still. You'll find sweeping biblical prophecies layered right on top of hip-hop cadences. One moment, it reads like ancient scripture, and the next, it's a rhythmic, rapid-fire verse declaring personal sovereignty. To an outsider, the text can be entirely disorienting. He assigns himself grandiose titles like Master Maker or the Kraken, and then places those cosmic identities side by side with highly specific, grounded grievances about family arguments and missing coasters. The density of this jargon suggests a specific utility. The recurring patterns point to a rigid structure built for a narrow, high-stakes purpose. Beneath the abstract poetry and the prophetic language lies a heavily documented history of a toxic, narcissistic family system. The source material outlines years of childhood trauma and targeted abuse. Hanks describes being violently scapegoated by relatives, dealing with false police reports, and facing wrongful imprisonment orchestrated by his own family. When the people supposed to protect a person become their attackers, the physical and emotional safety nets vanish. In this environment, institutions like law enforcement and child services can be manipulated to cast the victim as the villain. When reality and truth are stolen by abusers, survival requires the construction of an entirely new world, built with a louder, more powerful narrative. Psychologists recognize this as a defense mechanism for severe trauma, radical myth-making. It strips abusive relatives of earthly power, elevating them into cosmic threats like demons. To fight them, the powerless scapegoat upgrades, transforming into an invincible figure like the Master Maker. Elevating mundane trauma to a biblical scale creates distance. It allows the victim to step outside of the helplessness they experienced in reality, providing the tools needed to regain narrative control. Myth-making functions as a sophisticated, creative tool designed to conquer a reality that has become unlivable. To build this new reality, Hanks relies on specific linguistic tools, the weight of prophecy and the driving rhythm of poetry. Between 2013 and 2016, various prophetic words were spoken over him by others in his community. These external voices provided the validation needed to pull him out from the label of a homeless victim and rebrand him as a warrior and a lighthouse. He internalizes this through spoken word verses and hip-hop cadences. The rhythmic, repetitive lyrics in his transcripts weaponize language, turning words into active defenses against past abusers. Vocalizing these new identities through poetry transitions them from internal coping mechanisms into tangible armor. Softening, warm. The armor is only half the story. The narrative eventually shifts from spiritual warfare into the intimate, present-day setting of his nuclear family. In one recording, Micah helps his daughter Grace fill out a Mother's Day worksheet. She doesn't give guarded, fearful answers. She describes her mom cooking, loving them, cuddling in bed, and doing silly things. He stays patient and curious, letting her own her words without correction. This interaction fosters agency and emotional literacy, the exact opposite of the narcissistic family system he escaped. The Master Maker persona constructs a fortress around this domestic safety, ensuring new life can thrive far away from the old dragons. The existence of an emotionally secure child, safe enough to trust her own voice, serves as the primary evidence that this mythology is working. Hanks refers to his family's generational trauma as an architecture of avoidance. It's a legacy built on swallowed truths and silence, a legacy he actively chose to decouple from. He explicitly states his goal is to become the ancestor I needed. By shattering the repeating loop of abuse, he replaces it with a direct, forward-moving cycle of affirmation. Breaking that cycle comes with real-world costs. It requires severing family ties, sacrificing personal reputation, and accepting the villain's role in their revised histories. Accepting the role of the villain in a toxic family's narrative is the price of becoming the hero in your own. This story highlights the universal human capacity for psychological resilience. Whether the dragons, demons, or angels in his text literally exist is irrelevant to their efficacy in keeping him alive. When institutions and safety nets fail, human beings possess a profound creative authority to rewrite their own mythology. This self-authorship grants an individual the authority to extract their own name from the wreckage and define their own future.